The ship moved slowly through the darkness of space. It was not a large ship. It was not a powerful ship. But it carried something the galaxy had never seen before. It carried humans. Captain Tay stood at the front window and looked at the massive space station ahead. The Galactic Assembly Station was bigger than anything he had ever seen. It was like a small moon made of metal and glass. Lights blinked everywhere. Ships of all shapes and sizes flew around it like insects around a lamp. "We are almost there," said Lieutenant Yuna. She stood next to him, her eyes wide with wonder. "I never thought I would see this day." Tay nodded slowly. "Neither did I. But here we are. The first humans to meet the galaxy." Behind them, the rest of the crew worked quietly. There were 20 humans on this ship, 20 representatives of Earth. They had trained for years for this moment. They had learned alien languages. They had studied alien cultures. They had prepared for everything. But nothing could truly prepare them for what was coming. The ship received a signal from the station. A voice spoke in a language that sounded like singing mixed with clicking sounds. The translation device on the wall changed it to words they could understand. "Unknown vessel. Identify yourself. State your species and origin world." Tay pressed a button and spoke clearly. "This is the Earth vessel Hope. We are humans from the planet Earth. We come in peace to join the Galactic Assembly." There was a long silence. Then the voice came back, sounding confused. "Earth? We have no record of this world. Please hold your position. We are sending a guide ship." Oversid. Yuna looked at Tay with worry in her eyes. "They do not know us. Is that good or bad?" "We will find out soon," Tay replied. A small ship came from the station and flew next to them. It guided them to a docking area on the outer ring of the station. The Hope landed softly, and the engines went quiet. Ambassador Juan came to the front. He was an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had spent his whole life working for peace between nations on Earth. Now he would try to bring peace between Earth and the stars. "Remember," Juan said to everyone, "we are guests here. We must be polite and patient. We do not know their ways yet. Watch, listen, and learn." The door of the ship opened with a hiss. Bright light flooded in. Tay stepped out first, followed by Yuna and Juan. The rest of the team came after them. The docking area was huge. The ceiling was so high that Tay could barely see it. The floor was smooth and white. And everywhere, there were aliens. Tay had seen pictures and videos during training. But seeing them in person was different. Some were tall and thin, with skin like blue glass. Some were short and round, covered in soft fur. Some had many arms. Some had no arms at all. Some floated in the air. Some crawled on many legs. All of them stopped and stared at the humans. Tay felt their eyes on him. He heard whispers in languages he did not understand. He saw some aliens step back, as if they were afraid. Others leaned forward. Curious, a being came toward them. It was tall, about 2 meters, with pale gray skin and large black eyes. It wore a simple robe of silver cloth. When it spoke, its voice was soft and calm. "Welcome to the Galactic Assembly Station. I am called Romy. I will be your guide. Please follow me." Romy turned and walked away. The humans followed. As they walked through the station, more aliens stopped to look at them. The whispers grew louder. "What are they saying?" Yuna asked quietly. Commander Nari, who walked behind them, checked her translation device. "They are calling us Deathworlders. They say we come from a poison world." "Poison world?" Tay frowned. "Earth is our home. It is beautiful." Nari shook her head. "Not to them. I read the files. To most aliens, Earth is a nightmare. High gravity, extreme temperatures, dangerous animals, toxic plants, violent weather. They cannot understand how anything could live there." Juan smiled softly. "Then they will have much to learn about us." Romy led them to a large room with a round table in the center. Chairs of many different sizes and shapes surrounded it. Some were meant for sitting, some were meant for floating, Some were pools of water. Please wait here, Romy said. The council members will come to meet you soon. They are very interested in your species. Romy left, and the humans were alone. Sergeant Day, a strong man with short black hair, walked around the room slowly. He checked the walls, the doors, the windows. It was his habit. He was a soldier. And soldiers always looked for danger. This place is not built for fighting, Day said quietly to Tay. The walls are thin, the doors are weak. If trouble comes, there is no good place to defend. Tay nodded. Let us hope trouble does not come. They waited for an hour. During that time, they sat and talked quietly. Some of them ate food from their bags. The station provided food too, but they did not trust it yet. Who knew what alien food would do to human bodies? Finally, the door opened again. 5 beings entered. They were different species, all dressed in fancy robes with symbols of power. The first was a creature like a giant insect, with shiny green shell and many eyes. The second was a being made of living crystal, glowing with inner light. The third looked almost like a fish, swimming in a bubble of water that floated beside it. The fourth was a small, furry creature, no bigger than a child, with large ears and clever eyes. The fifth was a tall being, with 4 arms and skin like smooth stone. The crystal being spoke first. Its voice was like wind chimes. So, these are the creatures from the death world. They look so soft, so weak. How did they survive? The fish creature bubbled something. The translation came through. Their world has oxygen in the air. Oxygen! A poison gas! They breathe poison every moment of their lives. The furry one shook its head. Impossible. No intelligent species should come from such a world. It must be a mistake. Juan stepped forward and bowed politely. Honored council members, we are humans from Earth. We are not a mistake. We have survived and grown on our world for millions of years. We have built cities. We have created art and music and science. We have traveled across our world, and now across the stars. We come to join your community and share in peace and knowledge. The insect creature made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. Share? What could Deathworlders possibly share with us? You are survivors. Nothing more. You are not builders. You are not thinkers. You are simply too stubborn to die. Tay felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. Yuna touched his arm gently, reminding him to stay quiet. Juan did not show any anger. He simply smiled. We have much to offer, he said, and much to learn. We only ask for a chance. The council members looked at each other. The stone being spoke in a deep voice. We will consider your request. You may stay on the station while we decide. But do not expect too much, Deathworlders. Your kind is new here. Trust must be earned. The council members left as quickly as they had come. Yuna let out a long breath. That did not go well. But Juan still smiled. It went exactly as I expected. They do not know us yet. They see only what they want to see. Small, soft creatures from a terrible world. They do not see our true strength. Day crossed his arms. And what is our true strength? Juan looked at him with eyes full of wisdom, patience, hope, and the will to prove them wrong. Outside the room, the galaxy continued to spin. Billions of stars, trillions of beings, and somewhere among them, 20 humans waited for their chance to show the universe what Deathworlders could truly do. 3 days passed on the station. 3 long days of waiting. The humans stayed in rooms that were given to them. The rooms were nice enough. Clean beds, working lights, fresh water. But the humans felt like prisoners. They could leave their rooms. But wherever they went, aliens stared at them. Some pointed. Some laughed. Some ran away in fear. Tay walked through the station with Yuna beside him. They wanted to learn about this place. They wanted to understand the beings who lived here. A group of young aliens, creatures with soft pink bodies and too many eyes, saw them coming. One of them shouted something. The translation device in Tay's ear changed it to words. Look, Deathworlders, do not get too close. They might be dangerous. Another one laughed. Dangerous? Look at them. They are so small, so slow. My grandmother could defeat them. And she is 300 years old. The group laughed together and walked away. Tay kept his face calm, but inside, his heart burned. They think we are weak, Yuna said quietly. They think we are nothing. Let them think that, Tay replied. Thoughts are not truth. On the fourth day, the council called for a meeting. All 20 humans walked together to the Great Hall, where the Galactic Assembly gathered. The hall was enormous. Thousands of seats rose up in circles around a central platform. Each seat held a representative from a different world, and all of them looked down at the small group of humans. Ambassador Juan walked to the center platform. He stood alone under the bright lights. His voice was calm and clear. Honored members of the Galactic Assembly, he began. I am Juan, representative of Earth. I come today to ask that humanity be accepted into your community. We wish to trade, to learn, and to work together for peace. A wave of whispers moved through the hall. The crystal being from before raised one shining arm to speak. The council has considered your request, Deathworlder. We have discussed it for many hours, and we have questions. I will answer anything, Juan said. The insect creature clicked its many legs. Your world has a gravity pull of 9.8 meters per second squared. Is this correct? Yes, that is extremely high. Most civilized worlds have gravity of 4 or 5 at most. How do your bodies survive such crushing force? Juan smiled gently. Our bones are dense. Our muscles are strong. We are built for our world. The fish in its water bubble made a gurgling sound. And the radiation from your sun? It is so intense. How do you not burn? Our skin protects us. We also create things to cover our bodies when needed. The furry creature jumped up and down in its seat. What about the predators? Our records show your world has millions of species that hunt and kill. Lions, sharks, bears, insects with poison. How did your species survive long enough to become intelligent? Juan's smile grew wider. We survived because we are the most successful predators on our planet. Nothing hunts humans. We sit at the top of the food chain. This caused a great commotion in the hall. Shouts and cries filled the air. Many aliens looked at the humans with new fear. A few looked with disgust, the stone being raised all 4 of its arms for silence. You claim to be apex predators, it said slowly. But look at you. You have no claws, no fangs, no armor, no venom. Your bodies are soft and breakable. How can such creatures be dangerous? Juan looked up at the stone being without fear. We have something better than claws. We have our minds. We build tools. We make weapons. We create machines that can cross the stars. Our bodies may be soft, but our will is hard as diamond. The hall was silent for a moment. Then the insect creature made its clicking laugh again. Words. Pretty words from a pretty creature. But words mean nothing here. The Galactic Assembly has existed for 50,000 years. We have seen species come and go. We have seen empires rise and fall, and we have never seen anything like you, Deathworlders. It leaned forward, its many eyes glittering. You want to join us? Then tell us what you offer. What can Earth give to the galaxy? Juan began to speak about human science, art, and culture. He talked about the music humans made, the stories they told, the inventions they created. He spoke of human medicine that could heal wounds. He spoke of human farming that could grow food anywhere. He spoke of human engineering that could build anything. But as he spoke, the aliens began to laugh. First it was just a few. Then more. Then the whole hall was filled with laughter. The sound was strange and ugly. Each species laughed in its own way. Clicking, bubbling, whistling, roaring. But the meaning was the same. They were laughing at humanity. The crystal being waved, one arm dismissively. Your science is primitive. Your art is crude. Your technology is thousands of years behind ours. You have nothing we want or need." The fish creature added, "You cannot even survive outside your own world without special suits and machines. You are too fragile for space." The furry one nodded. "And your history. We have read your files. War after war. Killing after killing. Your species cannot even live in peace with itself. Why would we let such violent creatures into our community?" Commander Nari, who stood with the other humans, clenched her fists. Sergeant Day's face was like stone. The other humans shifted and murmured. They were angry. They were hurt. They had come so far, worked so hard, and these aliens treated them like nothing. But Juan remained calm. "We have made mistakes," he admitted. "We have fought wars. We have caused suffering. But we have also learned from our mistakes. We have grown. We have changed. We are not perfect, but we are trying to be better." "Trying is not enough," the stone being declared. "The Galactic Assembly does not accept species who try. We accept species who succeed." Quote, "It raised all four arms in a formal gesture. The vote is now. All members who wish to accept the Deathworlders into the Assembly, signal now." Tay watched the hall. His heart was pounding. This was the moment. Everything they had worked for came down to this. A few lights appeared in the darkness. 10, maybe 15, out of thousands. "All members who wish to reject the Deathworlders, signal now." The hall exploded with light. Thousands upon thousands of glowing signals. The rejection was almost complete, the stone being nodded slowly. "The vote is decided. Humanity is not accepted into the Galactic Assembly. You may remain on the station as guests, but you will have no voice, no vote, and no protection under our laws." Juan bowed his head. "I understand. Thank you for your consideration." He turned and walked back to his people. The laughter followed him. The whispers followed him. The insults followed him. But when he reached the other humans, his eyes were not sad. They were determined. "Do not lose hope," he said quietly to his team. "This is not the end. It is only the beginning." Yuna looked at him with confusion. "How can you say that? They rejected us. They laughed at us." Juan put his hand on her shoulder. "They laughed because they do not know what we are. They see small, soft creatures with no weapons. They see primitive beings from a poison world. They do not see the truth." "And what is the truth?" Tay asked. Juan looked at each human face around him. 20 people. 20 survivors of Earth. 20 children of a death world. The truth is that we are stronger than they can imagine, not because of our bodies, not because of our weapons, but because of our spirit. We have survived ice ages and plagues. We have survived wars and disasters. We have survived everything our world threw at us, and we kept going." He looked back at the hall, where thousands of aliens still laughed and talked. "They think we are weak. They think we will give up and go home. But they are wrong. We will stay. We will watch. We will learn, and when the time comes, we will show them what Deathworlders can truly do." Outside the Great Hall, the stars continued to shine. And somewhere among them, the humans waited. Patient. Ready. Unbroken. 2 weeks passed after the vote. The humans stayed on the station as guests. They had no power. They had no voice. But they had eyes and ears. And they used them well. Tay spent his days walking through the station, learning its paths and secrets. Yuna studied the different species, noting their strengths and weaknesses. Nari learned about the station's security systems. Day trained in an empty room, keeping his body strong and ready. And Juan talked. He talked to anyone who would listen. A few aliens were curious about humans. A few were kind. Juan made friends where he could. He planted seeds of trust that might one day grow into something more. Life on the station continued. Ships came and went. Diplomats argued and agreed. Trade flowed between 1,000 worlds. The humans were mostly ignored. They were strange creatures from a strange world, nothing more. Then, everything changed. It was the middle of the night cycle when the alarm started. Red lights flashed everywhere. A loud voice echoed through every corridor. Warning. Unknown ships approaching. All non-combat personnel, proceed to safe zones. This is not a drill. Tay jumped from his bed and ran to the window. Outside, in the darkness of space, he saw them. Ships. Hundreds of ships. They were black and sharp. Like knives cutting through the stars, they moved fast, faster than any ship he had ever seen. What is happening? Yuna appeared beside him, her face pale. Before Tay could answer, the first explosion shook the station. The humans gathered quickly in the hallway, all 20 of them, awake and alert. Years of training kicked in without thought. They moved as a team, checking each other, preparing for danger. Juan spoke first. We need information. What are those ships? Who is attacking? Nari had her device in her hand. She tapped quickly, searching for news. The station's communication system is going crazy. Everyone is panicking. But I found something. The ships belong to a species called the Vorn. They are raiders, pirates. They attack stations and worlds, take what they want, and destroy the rest. Why would they attack the Galactic Assembly Station? Yuna asked. This is the most important place in the galaxy. Because it is the most important place, Day said grimly. The most valuable targets are here. The most important people. If the Vorn take this station, they could control everything. Another explosion rocked the floor. The lights flickered. Screams came from somewhere down the corridor. Tay made a decision. We cannot hide in our rooms. We need to move. We need to find out what is happening and help if we can. Help? One of the younger humans, a woman named Bora, looked at him with wide eyes. The aliens rejected us. They laughed at us. Why should we help them? Tay looked at her steadily. Because it is the right thing to do. Because there are innocent beings on this station who will die if no one helps them. We are humans. We do not let others suffer when we can act. Juan nodded. Tay is right. This is our chance. Not for revenge or pride, but to show who we truly are. The humans moved as one. They ran through the corridors of the station, heading toward the central areas where the main docking bays were. All around them, chaos spread like fire. Aliens ran in every direction. Some screamed. Some cried. Some simply stood frozen, unable to move from fear. The station's security forces tried to organize, but they were overwhelmed. The Vorn had struck too fast, too hard. Tay saw his first Vorn up close when they reached the main corridor. It was a terrible creature. Tall and thin, covered in black armor that seemed to eat the light. Its face was hidden behind a mask, but its eyes glowed red like burning coals. It carried a weapon that looked like a long blade made of dark energy. The Vorn was dragging a small alien, the furry kind with big ears, toward a transport pod. The little creature cried and struggled, but it was too weak to escape. Day did not hesitate. He ran forward, faster than any alien on the station could move. The Vorn turned at the sound, but it was too slow. Day's fist hit the Vorn's mask with a crack like thunder. The Vorn flew backward and crashed into the wall. It did not get up. Everyone stared. The furry alien. The other beings in the corridor. Even the other humans. They all stared at Day as he stood over the fallen Vorn, breathing hard. How did you do that? The furry alien whispered. Vorn are the strongest warriors in the sector. Nothing can defeat them in close combat. Day looked down at his fist. It was bleeding a little, but it still worked fine. I am from Earth, he said simply. We are built different. More Vorn appeared at the end of the corridor. They saw their fallen friend. They saw the humans standing near the body. Their red eyes burned brighter with anger. Spread out, Tay shouted. Protect the civilians. Do not let them take anyone. The humans moved like water. Years of training. Years of surviving on a death world. Their bodies knew what to do even when their minds were filled with fear. The Vorn charged. They were fast and deadly. Their weapons cut through the air with deadly light. But the humans were faster than they expected, stronger than they believed possible. Yuna ducked under a blade and kicked the legs out from under her attacker. The Vorn fell, and she grabbed its weapon before it could rise. Nari worked with 2 other soldiers to corner a Vorn against the wall. They moved together perfectly, each one covering the others. A young man named June picked up a piece of broken metal from the floor and used it as a shield. When a Vorn tried to cut him, the metal took the blow. June pushed forward and slammed his shoulder into the Vorn's chest, sending it stumbling back, and Tay fought in the center of it all. His body moved without thought. Block, strike, dodge. He felt pain when a blade cut his arm, but he did not stop. He could not stop. Too many lives depended on him. The battle seemed to last forever. But in truth, it was only minutes. When it was over, 10 Vorn lay on the ground. Some were dead, some were just unconscious. And the humans stood among them, bloody and tired but alive. Aliens began to come out from their hiding places. They looked at the humans with new eyes. Eyes full of shock. Eyes full of wonder. Eyes full of something that might have been the beginning of respect. They beat the Vorn, someone whispered. The Deathworlders beat the Vorn with their bare hands. Impossible, another voice said. No species can do that. The Vorn are unstoppable. Juan helped a wounded alien to its feet. The creature, one of the tall blue ones, stared at him. Why? It asked. Why did you help us? We rejected you. We laughed at you. Juan smiled gently. The same calm smile he always wore. Because you needed help. Because we could give it. That is all the reason we need. But the battle was not over. More explosions shook the station. More Vorn ships arrived. The humans had won one small fight. But the war was just beginning. Tay wiped blood from his face and looked at his team. This is only the start, he said. The Vorn will keep coming. We need to find the command center. We need to organize a defense. Day cracked his knuckles. Despite the danger, there was a fierce smile on his face. Then let us show them what Earth really sent to the stars. Together, the humans moved deeper into the station. Behind them, the aliens watched. They had called these beings weak. They had called them primitive. They had called them Deathworlders, as if it was an insult. Now they were beginning to understand. Being a Deathworlder was not a weakness, it was a warning. The command center of the station was in chaos. Screens flashed red warnings. Officers ran back and forth, shouting orders that no one followed. The crystal being from the council stood in the center, its light flickering with fear. When the humans arrived, everyone stopped. You, the crystal being said, its voice no longer calm. What are you doing here? This area is for authorized personnel only. Tay stepped forward. Blood ran down his arm from his earlier wound. But he did not seem to notice. We are here to help. We have fought the Vorn in the corridors. We can fight them again. But we need to work together. Work together? The crystal being made a sound like breaking glass. You are Deathworlders. You know nothing of space combat. You will only make things worse. Juan moved beside Tay. His voice was gentle but firm. With respect, your station is being destroyed. Your security forces are scattered. The Vorn are taking prisoners by the hundred. You can reject our help and watch everything fall apart. Or you can let us try. The crystal being was silent. On the screens, another section of the station went dark. More Vorn ships arrived. Time was running out. Fine, it said at last. What do you suggest? Nari stepped forward. She had been studying the screens while the others talked. The Vorn are using a pattern. They attack in waves, moving through the station, section by section. They are not here just to destroy. They want something specific. Something valuable. The stone being from the council limped into the room. One of its 4 arms hung broken at its side. The vault, it said heavily. They want the vault. It holds treasures from 1,000 worlds. Artifacts. Technology. Weapons. If the Vorn take it, they could threaten the entire galaxy. Yuna checked her device. Where is this vault? 3 levels below us. But the path is blocked. Debris from explosions. And Vorn are everywhere between here and there. Day smiled his fierce smile. Then we clear the path. The crystal being flickered. That is suicide. Even if you are stronger than we thought, you cannot fight through hundreds of Vorn. Tay looked at his team. 20 humans, 20 Deathworlders, 20 children of a world that tried to kill them every day of their lives. Watch us, he said. They moved out. The station shook with every step. Fires burned in the corridors. Smoke filled the air. Any other species would have choked, would have slowed down, would have died, but humans breathed poison every day. The smoke was nothing. They found the first blockage quickly. A huge piece of metal had fallen from the ceiling, blocking the entire corridor. It must have weighed several hundred kilograms. Yuna walked up to it. She placed her hands against the cold metal. She took a deep breath, then she pushed. Her muscles burned, her bones creaked, every part of her body screamed in protest. But she had been born on a world with crushing gravity. Her body was built to lift, to carry, to endure. The metal moved, slowly at first, then faster. It scraped across the floor with a terrible sound, and then it was out of the way. Yuna stepped back, breathing hard. The aliens who had followed them stared with open mouths. That block weighs 300 kilograms, one of them whispered. No living being should be able to move it. Crime. Earth gravity is 9.8, Yuna replied simply. Everything on our world is heavy. We are used to it. They moved on. More Vorn waited ahead. More fights. More blood. A blade caught Juan across the chest. The wound was deep. Dark, red blood soaked his clothes. Any other species would have collapsed, would have died within minutes, but Juan kept walking. He pressed one hand against the wound and kept walking. You are hurt, an alien cried. You need medical attention. Later, Juan said through gritted teeth. The vault first. The aliens could not understand. They saw a creature with a mortal wound walking and talking and fighting. They saw something that should have been impossible. They did not know that human bodies were built to survive. Built to keep going long after they should have stopped. Built by millions of years of evolution on a world that never stopped trying to kill them. The battle at the vault door was the worst of all. 50 Vorn stood guard. They had heavy weapons, shields of dark energy. They were ready for an army. They were not ready for humans. Tay led the charge. He ran straight into the enemy line, moving faster than they could aim. A blast caught him in the shoulder. He felt his skin burn. He felt the pain like fire, but pain was just information. Pain was just his body telling him something was wrong. And humans had learned long ago to ignore what their bodies told them. He grabbed the nearest Vorn and threw it into 2 others. Day appeared beside him, fighting like a storm of fists and fury. Yuna followed. Then Nari. Then all the others. The Vorn fought back. They were strong. They were skilled. They wounded the humans again and again. Blood covered the floor. Human blood. Red and thick and warm, but the humans did not stop. A young woman named Sue took a blade through her leg. She fell, then pulled herself up on one knee and kept fighting from the ground. A man named Minho lost 2 fingers to a slashing attack. He switched his weapon to his other hand and kept swinging. Bora was thrown against the wall so hard that something in her back cracked. She could barely stand, but she could still throw things. So she grabbed pieces of debris and hurled them at the enemy. The Vorn began to feel something they had never felt before. Fear. They were the terror of the galaxy. They were the unbeatable raiders, the nightmare of 100 worlds. Nothing had ever stopped them. Nothing had ever made them retreat, until now. One by one, the Vorn fell. Some were killed. Some were knocked unconscious. Some simply ran, unable to face these impossible creatures any longer. When it was over, the humans stood alone before the vault door. 20 of them had started. All 20 still lived. Wounded, broken, bleeding from a dozen cuts. But alive. The aliens who had followed them stood frozen in shock. "This is impossible," the crystal being said. Its voice was barely a whisper. "You should be dead. All of you should be dead 10 times over." Tay turned to look at it. His face was covered in blood. His shoulder was burned. His body was a map of pain, but his eyes were clear. His voice was steady. "On Earth," he said, "we have a saying. What does not kill you makes you stronger. Our world has tried to kill us for millions of years, and we are still here." Juan, still pressing his hand to his chest wound, smiled his gentle smile. "We are Deathworlders. We do not die easily, and we never give up." The vault door opened. The treasures inside were safe. The Vorn had failed. But the battle was not over yet. More Vorn remained on the station. More fighting waited ahead. Tay looked at his team. His family. His fellow survivors of Earth. "Can you keep going?" he asked. 20 voices answered as one. Yes. And so they did. The final battle lasted 3 more hours. The humans moved through the station like ghosts of war. They found Vorn in every corner, every shadow, every dark place. And they fought them all. Word spread through the station. Stories of the Deathworlders who could not be killed. Stories of creatures who lifted impossible weights, who fought through wounds that would end any other being, who kept coming no matter what. The Vorn heard these stories too, and the Vorn began to retreat. It started slowly. A few raiders backing away. A few ships leaving early. Then more. Then hundreds. The Vorn were not cowards. They were practical. They had come for easy treasure and easy prisoners. They had not expected to face anything like this. They had not expected to face humans. By the time the station's sun rose on a new cycle, the Vorn were gone. Their black ships disappeared into the darkness of space, leaving only wreckage and memories behind. The station was damaged. Whole sections were destroyed. Fires still burned in some places. The dead numbered in the thousands. But the station survived. The vault survived. The Galactic Assembly survived. Because 20 humans from a poison world had refused to let it fall. Tay stood in the medical bay, watching doctors work on his team. Alien doctors. Using alien medicine. But they were trying their best. They had never treated humans before. But they learned fast. Juan lay on a bed, his chest covered in bandages. The wound had been deep. Any other species would have died before reaching medical help. But Juan's body had kept fighting. His blood had kept flowing. His heart had kept beating. "You are remarkable creatures," the doctor said. It was a small being with many tentacles, each one holding a different medical tool. "Your bodies heal so fast. Your pain tolerance is beyond anything I have seen. Your blood carries oxygen so efficiently that you can keep functioning even with terrible injuries." Yuna sat in a chair nearby, her arm in a sling. "That is just normal for us. We did not know it was special." The doctor made a sound that might have been a laugh or might have been a sob. "Normal? On our worlds, such things are the stuff of legends. Stories we tell children, and you call them normal." The crystal being from the council entered the medical bay. It moved slowly, its light dim with exhaustion or perhaps something else. When it saw the humans, it stopped. "I have come to apologize," it said. The room went quiet. Tay turned to face the council member. "Apologize? We were wrong about you. Wrong about everything." The crystal being's voice was heavy with shame. "We called you primitive. We called you weak. We laughed when you asked to join us, and then you saved us. You fought and bled and suffered to protect beings who had treated you as nothing." It bowed, lowering its bright body toward the floor. "We do not deserve what you did for us, but we thank you for it." Juan, even lying wounded on his bed, smiled his gentle smile. "We did not do it to prove anything. We did it because it was right, because lives were in danger, and we could help. That makes it even more remarkable." The crystal being said, "You helped us not for reward or recognition. You helped us because that is who you are." Over the next few days, more council members came. the stone being with its broken arm, the fish in its water bubble, the furry creature with the big ears. Even the insect that had laughed the loudest came to apologize. Each one said the same thing. They were wrong. They were sorry. They wanted to make things right. And each time, the humans gave the same answer. They forgave. They understood. They moved forward. 1 week after the attack, the Great Hall was filled once more. Every seat was taken. Every eye was on the center platform. But this time, the humans did not stand alone and small before the thousands of aliens. This time, they stood as heroes. Tay led the group. His wounds were healing, but he still walked with a limp. Beside him stood Yuna, Nari, Day, and all the others. Even Juan came, helped by Bora and Minho, still weak, but determined to be there. The stone being spoke first. Its voice echoed through the hall. Members of the Galactic Assembly. 2 weeks ago, we voted to reject humanity. We called them primitives. We called them dangerous. We called them unworthy of our community. It paused. The hall was silent. We were fools. A ripple of agreement moved through the audience. These beings saved our station. They saved our lives. They fought an enemy that we could not defeat. And they won. Not with advanced weapons. Not with great technology. They won with courage, determination, and a strength we did not know was possible. The crystal being stepped forward. I have studied their world. I have learned about their history. Earth is a planet of nightmares. Gravity that crushes, weather that kills, predators at every turn. Every day on that world is a fight for survival. It looked at the humans with something like wonder. And from that nightmare came these beings. Forged by struggle, strengthened by hardship, made unbreakable by a world that tried to break them every single day. The furry creature spoke next, its small voice carrying through the hall. They call themselves humans. We called them Deathworlders. But I think they are something more. They are survivors. They are fighters. They are protectors. The stone being raised all 4 of its arms. And so I call for a new vote. Not just to accept humanity into the Galactic Assembly, but to recognize them as what they have proven themselves to be. Guardians of the stars, defenders of the weak, champions of the galaxy. All members who agree, signal now. The hall exploded with light. Every seat, every representative, every world. The vote was not just positive, it was unanimous. Tay felt tears in his eyes. He looked at his team, his friends, his family. They were crying too. Crying with joy and relief and pride. Juan stepped forward, helped by those beside him. His voice was weak but clear. Thank you. All of you. We came to the stars, hoping to find new friends. We found something better. We found a purpose. He looked up at the thousands of lights. Humanity will not forget this moment. We will honor your trust. We will protect this community with everything we have. Not because we want power. Not because we want glory. But because it is right. He smiled. That same gentle smile that had carried him through rejection and battle and pain. We are Deathworlders. And we are proud of it. The hall erupted in cheers. Sounds of joy from 1,000 different species. Clapping and clicking and whistling and singing. The noise was overwhelming. Beautiful. And new. Outside, the stars continued to shine. Billions of lights in the endless dark. And among them, one small world, called Earth, spun on, unaware that its children had changed the galaxy forever. The humans stayed on the station. They trained others. They shared their strength. They learned and grew and built bridges between worlds. And whenever danger came, whenever enemies threatened, whenever darkness fell, the galaxy knew it could count on one thing. The Deathworlders would be there, always.